Hi everyone, welcome. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you and I share my peace and to subscribe with Welcome My Baby Dinosaurs. And so I'm so happy to have you all today and welcome to the Ultimate Georgia Senate Update. Right now it is Tuesday, January 5th at 6:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when I am recording this video. The poll closes in Georgia at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so this reading will be before the results even enter in. And so we have a lot of questions to cover today, guys. Thank you so much for being with me. I appreciate it. Thank you all for being patient. So let's jump into it. I have a bunch of questions to cover. If you guys want to know what I'll be covering in today's video, this is not in order, I believe, but check the description. Everything should be written down what I'll be covering in these videos. Plus, I'll be taking questions up until 7 p.m., right when the poll closes. So this should be very fun, entertaining. So I do hope you guys enjoy it, and let's get right into it. So I know a lot of you guys have been saying that you haven't been notified when I am going live. Do not worry. I have my Facebook group link in the description below. Click join and I'll be happy to have you. You'll be able to be notified directly from me, so you don't have to depend on YouTube to notify you when I am going live, post, and I also have Facebook posts as well. I'll be doing personal readings on Facebook Live, so you'll be able to ask me questions there. But I'm not going to waste your time. Let's jump into it. We got a lot of things to talk about. Now, this is just for entertainment purposes only and for educational purposes only as well. All right, let's get that right off. Let's jump into it. All right, so welcome everyone to the Senate Update. So now the first question that we should be asking is, will voter suppression play a major role in the upcoming election? Because that's really important. When we were talking about the 2020 election, we really didn't look at that. And so I want to look at that in a more in-depth view with this to alter the race. So let's take a quick look. All right, so spirits and angels tell me, will the Senate race be affected by voter suppression in the state of Georgia? What do we need to know, spirits and angels? Okay, so what it's telling me is that in the past, that Georgia was one of those states where voter suppression really affected a lot of people. And so this is very important. However, there are a lot of people fighting for Joe Biden that came out in droves. They made sure that their voices were heard. And here's Joe Biden, and then here's the Democrats, the Democratic Party, JB, as in Sharon said it. And so it feels as if voter suppression may potentially play a major role in this. However, it looks like those same people who voted in the 2020 general election will be coming out to vote as well. We have here, it's going to be quite a struggle to get through, but they will succeed. It's a transformation. The state of Georgia is undergoing a big change. We see here underneath the heart is a struggle for a lot of Democrats in the past, right? But under here fighting was Stacey Abrams, and she was the new future of Georgia. So this is Stacey Abrams. She made sure she went through to each every house to make sure that they were registered to vote. So if anything, it's really her who should get the credit. Under here, we have Biden, who revealed the winner in Georgia. So it does look like a lot of Democrats are coming out to vote again in 2021, actually. But under here, we have the Democrats as well, but we also have the death card. And what this tells me that there will be a transition from the way Georgia used to vote to the way they're going to start voting now. So this is a voting trend. So it looks like voter suppression may be a big thing, but it doesn't look like it's going to harm the Democrats, which is interesting. Thank you, everyone. I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. All right, so I asked if the Democrats were going to be hurt with the chances of winning. I know that I've seen that in the card that they won't be, but it does not hurt to check as well. Because, you know, when you ask specific questions, you may get different answers, and that's very important, especially for the Senate race. So spirits and angels tell me, does voter suppression hurt the Democratic Party or the Democrat chances of taking the control of the Senate in 2021 in the state of Georgia? Will voter suppression play a major role for the Democrats' win? Okay. And what else do we need to know, spirits and angels? Will it make a big difference in Georgia? We have here Okay, it's quite interesting. It's really how you look at it at this point. And what we have here in the past with the stun, it was very well known that the state of Georgia is well known for voter suppression. However, we have the Knight of Wands, which tells me that a lot of those Trumpers they kind of didn't really show up to the poll, or they kind of left. They tried not to. Now, will they be victorious? We have the victorious card. And I want to ask, does this mean the Democrats will be victorious, or does this mean the Republican Party will be victorious at voter suppression? Oh, look, we have a card here. I didn't know. Look, watch. Okay. We have here loss and the hermit as well. So let me just take a quick look. Does this mean the Democratic Party was going to lose because of voter suppression, or does it mean the Republican Party will lose or win? What do we need to know? Okay. All right, so it looks like it's going to be quite confusing, actually, for a lot of people. This is my voter suppression card, but it's reversed. And here we have the Democrat candidate coming in. It's going to be quite of a push for them to actually get going. So it is going to be hard, but they have the back and they have the money. They have the donations. The thing is, do they have enough people from diverse backgrounds or minorities, whites or other ethnic groups as well to come out and drove? That's the question, and whether or not they'll retain the Senate or gain the Senate, for that matter. So it does look like it really hangs on the people who are coming out to vote. All right, so the next question that we're going to be talking about: do the Democrats have a comfortable lead in polling numbers to win? That's very interesting to say the least, because the reason for this is it is accurate. That's the question that we want to look at as well. So I'll be showing you guys a little poll numbers in a second. I just want to put this in just so that we can get going. Okay. All right. So let's look at this. So as you guys can notice here, if you see on your screen, we have 538, which is actually one of the most accurate polling data that you can find on the internet. They have been pretty spot on. It's only been by 1% they were wrong in favor of the Democrats when it comes to Georgia's Senate race, and also presidential election. They were off by 1%. They favored the Republican by 1%. So as you see here, for John Ossoff, he leads currently right now at 49.1% to David Perdue, 47.4%. And then we also looking at Warnock, who is at 49.4%, to Loeffler, 47.2%. Which is quite astonishing for both parties as well. So if they are within striking distance of reaching 50%, this is very crucial to maintaining or regaining control of the House. So this is very important. So let's take a quick look at that as well. So I'm going to remove this from the screen. So let's take a look. All right, so Spirits and Angels tell me, do the Democrats actually have a comfortable lead in the polling numbers to win the Senate race? Do the Democrats have a comfortable lead in the Senate race to win? Do they have a comfortable lead? Okay, so here's the challenge. We have 45 here. That's the challenge. Do they have a comfortable lead to win the Senate races in Georgia? What do we need to know? Can you tell me, Spirit? Okay. That's too many cards, but sure. Go ahead. All right, so this is for the slide as well. So we do have here in the past, it was a potential chance for them to win the Senate in 2020. They didn't do it. But you also need to manifest blue in the state of Georgia. Right now, presently, we have here a loss. A loss for the Democrats or the Republican Party as well because of Trump, right? So this could mean that the Democrats lose because of Trump, or this means that the Republican Party loses because of Trump's scandal, which is quite interesting. And then we have here in the future, we have, a lot of poll numbers point to a Democratic victory, but also that is very competitive and that the Senate can go either way. Here we have Trump reversed, which tells me that he is down in the polls and that's what's going to hinder the senators, David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, from winning the Senate. So it does look like it is going to end up going blue, because they weren't able to seal the votes, or it looked like Georgia made sure that all votes are counted. So it does look like the Democrats look like they will have a comfortable, pretty lead in the polling numbers. Now, when I first started reading on Georgia, I said that Jon Ossoff will win by a bigger margin than Raphael Warnock. However, let's see if that holds. A lot of other tarot card readers, based on what I've heard from you guys, are saying the exact opposite. But let's just see what happens tonight. All right, so we have another question. If the swing is 1% to the Republican favor, will the Democrats still have a chance to win the Senate? Now let's look at that. So spirits and angels tell me if the Republicans come out and in favor, and it favors 1% to the Republican Party, will the Democrats candidates, Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock, still have a chance to win the 2021 Senate races in Georgia? Anything else, Spirit? Anything else you want to tell me about this? Okay, so it looks like this is a challenge here. So here we have as well, it is going to hurt quite a lot for the Democratic Party. They're going to have to retreat because of the numerous amount of votes, and it will favor the Republican Party. So it looks like right now it's actually a dead heat, which means that the Republican Party is 1% higher than where it really is in the polls. So let's just take a quick look at that, right? If you look at Jon Ossoff, he is ahead by 1.8%, right? And what that basically means that if you knock that down 1%, he's ahead by only 0.8. And for Raphael Warnock, if you knock that down, that's by 1.1%. So if you look at this, it's really astonishing to see how this may very well play out. So it does look like the Democrats may potentially lose this thing if more Republicans come out to vote tonight. So let's just take a more deeper, in-depth look at that as well. Okay, so we have the challenge is, will all these votes, mail-in ballots, will they come out? Are they enough? That's the question. Is there enough? So let's just take a quick look at that. Let's look at the Republican side of this. If the election swung 1% to the Democrats, would a Republican candidates have a chance at winning the Senate? Because let's take a look at that, because if we ask two separate questions, we'll almost rephrase it or give me a different answer or the same answer. So spirits and angels tell me. So if we swung the election, if the election swung 1% in favor of the Democrats in the state of Georgia, does that mean that Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue still have a chance at winning the Senate in January 2021, today? Will they still have a chance at winning? Okay. So here we have is Joe Biden. Joe Biden is elected president, right? Then we have here is the deciding factor. So we also have here as well, we have Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and the decision. So because Joe Biden and Donald Trump are coming to the state of Georgia, is actually making the state very contested. Here we have the challenges is balance, whether or not we'll be able to find balance within the Senate. And what I can tell you right now is that the two senators in Georgia are pretty tied up. And you can see that here, right? Because of foreign influences within the Senate, they're well-known names. People don't really like them. However, this is a Senate race. And also, a lot of them feel very restricted by a lot of the things that Donald Trump has done. The question is, will they be able to win it? That's another question that they have to basically decide for themselves. So let's look at the very next question. Will the white demographic be voting lower in this election? Now, the thing that I was watching Steve Kornacki earlier, and the question is that more white people, the white demographic within Atlantic suburbs voted more in line with Joe Biden, but voted Republican on the Senate and congressional, So basically what I'm trying to say here is that based on what Steve Kornacki was saying was that people in the suburbs of Atlanta who were part of the white demographic voted for Joe Biden on the presidential level, but also voted Republican on both the congressional and the Senate election as well. So let's just see how that holds up. Spears and Angels tell me, with the white demographic in the state of Georgia be voting more Democratic in this upcoming Senate election? And by that, I mean Georgia's Senate races for both Warnock and Jon Ossoff. What do we need to know? Will they be voting bluer? Here we have Joe Biden. And will they be voting blue? Will this white demographic be voting bluer? Okay, so what I can tell you right now, based on what I'm seeing, it's going to be quite hotly contested. If you look at this, right? We have, I am beautiful, I am love, I am compassionate. Here we have is the Knight of Swords. And basically what that tells me that right now Joe Biden is the one who won the state of Georgia, correct? However, in the future, which is right now, going to be very soon, we have the suburb. The suburb area is going to be decided by within 1%. And that's going to be pretty troubling for the Democratic Party. They're going to have to try and really push. We have to watch on election night. Watch the suburb. If the suburbs are a lot tighter than expected, you can almost guarantee that the Democrats may not control the Senate. And the reason for that is, if you look here, let me see if I can pull this up for you guys so you can have a deeper idea. All right, let's pull this back up. So, if you see here on the Senate map, right, and you look here, Purdue versus Ossoff, Purdue won this by 49.7% to Jon Ossoff 47.9%. But if you look here in this suburb right here with Fulton County, Ossoff won that by 69.8% to Purdue 28.1%. He won this county less than Joe Biden won this county. That's pretty troubling. And the reason for that is those are the same people who voted for the Republican Party in the Senate and the congressional level, but yet voted for Joe Biden. And as you see here on this map, for Joe Biden victory against Trump in Fulton County, you can see that Biden won the county by 72.6% to Donald Trump 26.2%. And the reason why this is very significant is that if you look at this and you compare the result, Purdue won, not won, but he led by 80,000 votes, where Joe Biden, if you look on this election, he only led by 11,000, or at least 12,000 if you really want to round that up. And so that's really important here if you take a play at what's really important. So let's take a more deeper inside look at what's really important here. So, will the minority population come out in big numbers, and what party will benefit from the minority turnout? And so let's just see. Now, the problem with this is that in the 2020 election compared to the 2016 election, what they have found is that more minority turnout actually favors the Republican Party rather than the Democratic Party. And the reason for this is more white people voted in favor of the Democrats, whereas the minorities voted more in favor of Donald Trump. So let's see, will that hold? So Spears and Angels tell me, will the minority population come out in big numbers in the state of Georgia for the 2021 Senate races between Jon Ossoff and David Perdue, Raphael Warnock, and Kelly Loeffler? Can you show me what's going to happen with the minority population? Okay, so the first thing is, we have the new voters here. This is my Democrats. This is Georgia state. This is Georgia, right? The new voters. Here we have is the presidential election. It wasn't blue in the state of Georgia. It's pretty hard. Here's the Senate. It's reversed. Right now, we don't know who won the state of Georgia. However, we do have government. Government will play a major role in how a lot of Georgians will vote. Here we have the Hermit. It's undecided, but it's also pretty predictable. And if you look at here, this is my card. For a lot of you guys who have been watching for quite a while, a lot of you guys know this is my card for taking the knife and shoving it through the incumbent, which is the throne. Which means that it looks like right now the Democratic Party will benefit from a high minority turnout in the state of Georgia. So that's pretty interesting to see. Let's look at the very next question. How long will it take to count the votes in Georgia? That's really important here. How long will it take? Because, you can count one thing. Now, this can give me, the final one of either all the votes are counted, or what it can tell me is that what's going to end up happening is that there may be many recounts. So let's just take a look. Spirits and angels tell me, how long will it take to count the votes in Georgia? How long will it take to count all the votes in Georgia Senate races in 2021? Okay, we have one. Anything else that we need? They tell me no, that's it. About 3 days. So it looks like it'll take about 3 days in the state of Georgia to count all the votes. So don't expect the result tonight. Now that could mean that we can find out within 3 hours. It could mean it could take 3 days, 3 weeks, not said. But more likely than not, it's going to be 3 days. Okay, so Trump effect in Georgia. Let's see. How did Trump affect in Georgia? Does he cause high turnout among the Republican Party in the state of Georgia for the Senate races in 2021? Where we need to know Spirit and Angel. Okay, so here we have the incumbent. He's been a defeated incumbent. The defeated incumbent came, right? He was able to help the Republican Party fundraise. This is what it really did. It really helped a lot of people in terms of fundraising. It really helped the suburbs. However, it kind of puts a lot of voters on the fence whether or not they really wanted to go with Trump and what he says, or do they want to go with a new option. So that's really what it's talking about here, that they're going to go with the new president, which is Biden. They're going to stick by Biden, right? And here he is. He's now the president. And they're going to stand by him and say Biden needs this in order to win. And here we have the Democratic Party, and it looks like they're going to get offered. So it looks like to me as anything, Trump's effect in Georgia had only helped the Republican Party in terms of fundraising, but actually made a lot of Republicans question whether or not the Democrats are actually stealing the election. So let's take a quick look at another question. Okay, so will we see a Democratic or Republican mirage in the state of Georgia? And this makes a lot of sense and is an appropriate question to ask. The reason for that is that how they count the votes. Will they count the early votes first, or will they count the Republican votes first? So by that I mean Republicans have a tendency to come out in the day of election, whereas the Democrats have more of a tendency to come out and vote early. Spirits and angels tell me, will we see a Republican mirage in the state of Georgia? Will we see a Republican mirage in the state of Georgia? Okay, will we see a Democratic mirage in the state of Georgia? Will it look like it's going heavily blue and then suddenly turns red? What's going to happen? We look here, it looks like it's pretty, it looks like what they're doing is they're predicting right now on betting markets that the Republicans are going to maintain both Senate seats. That's where the media is right now. However, we do see here, they don't have the enthusiasm that they had in 2020. We have here is the presidency that's hindering it. And here we have the unpredictability, the predictable but unpredictable. How many Republicans will come out to vote in this election? Because it's not on a national level. However, for the Democrats as well, we have the Page of Pentacles. And what this is kind of talking about is that, you know, there's a high chance for a Democratic mirage to emerge. However, it looks like, just be careful, because if you look here, while they're doing it, they're taking the votes and they're giving it to the third party candidate to make it very hard for any candidate to win. So don't be surprised if the Republican Party, because if you think about it, the way the voter turnout was talking about and referring to was that the way they do the runoff election is that, you know, if there was like a jungle primary, which is basically where more than one candidate wins, it's ticket splitting. However, what it sees here is that there is no ticket splitting, and those people who voted for you know, against Raphael and for another Republican are going to end up voting for the Republican Party. So just be aware of that as well. So you may see, it may look a little tighter than normal, so to speak. And the question is where can the Democrats make up? Do they have enough votes to have a turnout? And so that's what's really the remarkable question here, is that, you know, every question I'm asking is giving you a different question of results, which means that the scenario is still up for grab. but the same story is for a lot of tarot cards. It's been telling me the same exact story, which is important here as well. So, how does Donald Trump tape affect the race? Now, a lot of you guys who watched my previous reading before on this, the reason why I'm reading on it again is to see if has anything changed from when I read on it earlier today and has it changed now. So, how does Donald Trump recorded tape that was leaked to the press, alter the race into the state of Georgia? How would it alter the state of Georgia? How does it alter the race of Georgia in the future in terms of the result count? How does Donald Trump effects happen? Okay, so what has happened is that yes, guys, everyone sent Marie's table a lot of love, light, and energy because she really needs it. Much love to you, Marie. And we do have here as well, we do have the Democrats were unable to carry the state of Georgia. This is my Joe Biden and Kamala Harris card. However, we do have here in the middle is COVID-19, the handling of COVID, but also this is my state of Georgia flag. Then here we have in the right side, we have a lot of abundance, a lot of happiness, a lot of joy. It does look like a lot of people are very enthusiastic about this race because of the tape. So it looks like more people came out to vote that weren't necessarily planning on voting. And we do have here, a lot of them are new people. So don't be surprised if we have a young and high turnout for young people. So it does look like they're going to make a big difference. And it looks like they're going to decide who will be the next leader in the state of Georgia. So let's watch out for the young generation because they're coming. So let's see. How will the cities, suburbs, and rural areas vote for each party? Now, this is very important because if the Democrats could run up their margins in the cities and the suburbs, it will make it very hard for the Republican Party to have a grip on the Senate. So let's take a look at that. So Spirits and Angels tell me about the city. So here's the city. It's the card that represents the city. How will the Democrats be doing in terms of the citywide? Would it be run up the margin higher than Joe Biden did in the 2020 election to win the Senate race in 2021? What do we need to know, Spirits and Angels? Okay. What about Spirits and Angels? Tell me, what about the Republican Party? Will they be running up their numbers in the city for the 2021 Senate race? What do we need to know? Okay. It looks quite interesting to see. All right, so a lot of these people for the Page of Pentacles we have here in the city, there's a strong opportunity, but a lot of these people are being hidden or prohibited because of voter suppression. And here we have a lot of votes, a lot of abundance. The funny thing is, we have Trump on this side and we have Biden on this side, which tells me that a lot of Biden supporters, a lot of people who voted for Biden and the Democrats are going to have a lot harder time in terms of voting-wise than the Republicans. And the reason for that is, and I asked is, will a lot of Republicans run up their margins in terms of the city? And it looks like they will. Because here we have a lot of voters leaving Biden. They only voted for Biden because they wanted to make sure that he was president. And they will betray Biden by electing a Republican. So don't be surprised that the city, it looks like it's going to get tighter. This is a big difference than what I saw from last night. So let's take a look at the suburbs and the rural areas now. So remember what I said. In order for the Democrats to win, they need both, they need to improve upon their margins in Georgia in order to win. So Spirits and Angels tell me, how is the suburbs looking for the Democratic Party? Will they run up the numbers, what they got in 2020 presidential election? Will they do a lot better than Joe Biden did in suburbs? What do we need to know, Spirits and Angels? All right. What about the Republican Party in the suburbs? Will they run up their numbers more than what Donald Trump got? Okay, so it looks like it's going to be pretty contested. I started throughout the entire thing. Here we have on the Democratic side, we have the Ace of Pentacles, and on the Republican side, we have the family heritage. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 of Pentacles to 1. However, this one's bigger and this one's smaller, more spread out. What this tells me is this is my suburb card for the Republican Party. So it looks like the suburbs may be going a little bit redder than initially anticipated. And I apologize for the phone call in the background as well. And so we do have the Ace of Pentacles. There's an opportunity for the Democrats to win the suburb. However, if I were to put my money on it, it looks like the Republicans will improve upon their margin. And this is pretty significant since that the Tower cards have been telling me the Democrats win, even though the Republicans seem to be overall improving upon their margins. So what about the rural area, Spirits and Angels? Tell me, will the Democrats be improving upon their margin in rural Georgia? Will they be improving upon their margin in rural Georgia? What do we need to know? All right. And then, excuse me, what about the Republican Party? Will they be improving upon their margins in Georgia and for the Republican Party? Okay, so it looks like the Democrats will improve their margins in the rural area. So a lot of people within the rural districts and the rural counties will be voting a lot more than they would be for the Democrats. So there are going to be some splitting. It could be that they're not drive the Democrats towards victory, which is pretty significant because this is a solid base for the Republican Party. This is a major change from what happened when I read on this yesterday or earlier today. And here we have the Republicans are not going to get the votes that they need in the rural areas to fight for the Senate. So that's quite interesting to see how both of these flipped. So let's see. How big of a margin would Atlanta vote for the Democrats? This is very important here. This is 111, by the way, so this is very important. So Spirits and Angels, tell me. Let me just ask one more time. Sorry. All right. How big of a margin would the Democrats get in the state of Georgia for the Atlantic suburbs? How big of a margin do they need in order to win? What do we need to know? Okay. What else? How big of a margin do they need to win by in order to win the state or for the Senate? For the Senate, for both John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. Okay, so it looks like if the Democrats want to win the state of Georgia for both parties, for both candidates, what they need to do is they need to win this by 50%, which means that they need to take the city and quadruple what they already got. So what I mean basically is that they need almost 100% in order to win the state, or at least have 50% margin between them and the Republican Party. So this is going to be almost like a nightmare scenario for them. Will they be able to do the Spirit and Angel? Will they be able to pull this off? Okay. All right, let's see. So we have here as well. We have 8, 7, 4, 2. Okay, so how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3, 28. Let's take the two Republican parties out. Okay, there you go. So here it is. It looks like, if anything, we have 2,478,000. Wait, excuse me. Sorry, guys. This is not good. Spirit, do I put the 8 in here? Put the 5? Okay. Let the 5 go here. Okay, so this is what we got right here. We have 4,004. Excuse me, let me just read this properly. 2.5 million, basically. 2.5 million. This is the number. 2, 5, 4, 7, 8, 7, 4. And so what we're going to take a quick look at is how much did the Democrats get in terms of the election. So let's take a quick look at this. Why is this not allowing me to add to the screen? Sorry, guys. All right, so let's take this result. So if you look here and you compare it to my cards, right? 1.5. So as you can see here, if John Ossoff only had 1.5 million, he would automatically 2.5 million, he will beat Purdue. So this is why it's very significant. So if these cards do hold up, then that's amazing. That is amazing for us if they can do just that. So that's really interesting, to say the least. So I apologize for me struggling. I was trying to figure out what the cards were saying. Eventually, I got some sort of guidance from my guys. So this should be very fun. Is there any other questions that I need to cover? Okay, let's look at this. Will Warnock and Ossoff share the same voters? And I'm going to end it. Will Warnock, Raphael Warnock, and John Ossoff share the same amount of voters? Will they share the same voters? Spirits and Angels, Tommy. Will Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff share the same voters? What do you need to tell me, Spirit and Angels? Okay, so it looks like no, not anymore. They won't be sharing the same voters. In the past, this made John Ossoff lose. However, the suburban vote is going to come out in droves. And we do have here the Ace of Wands. So they will come out. New people will be going for both Warnock and Raphael. So people will be changing their vote based on who they like. Some of them are going to betray the party. However, some of them are going to end up walking away. So it does look like both John Ossoff and Warnock will not be sharing the same voters. So, let's see. Sorry, guys. Thank you so much for being with me and giving me this wonderful opportunity to help you guys and read for you. Thank you so much. I love each and every single one of you. I hope you had a very happy, good day. And I'll check back with you guys tomorrow. I'll be doing a reading for January 6th and what to expect there, and will there be a riot then? I know I've read on that before, but let me know what you guys think about this. Do you like what I was covering today? Put that in the comments below. I love you guys and have a wonderful night. I am going to be watching the polls open. So it is about 6:58 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we are 2 minutes out from the Georgia poll closing. So I love you and have a wonderful night. Bye, guys.